Yeah, it was very easy. You put them all on a boat and send them back where they came from. You get the army to do it because it's their job to protect you. Yeah, well, a crime is a crime. Well, the government has lots of money, it spends it on lots of stupid things. Might as well spend it on something practical for a change. Yeah, I don't think Merkel's really very interested in helping people, as she doesn't, from my perspective, really want to help her own people. So, I mean, charity begins at home, right? You help your own people first. You don't take from your own people and give to people you don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, we will see what effect the immigration has on these towns and cities. Um, well, to understand any event in a bigger perspective, you have to see what the results of the event are. You have to wait a little bit and see how people react. Because there's a very old system of problem reaction solution that if you want something, you want a solution, you get it by working backwards. Yeah, you start with what you want. You think about what other people will do to create what you want. Then you think about what you can do to get other people to create what you want or what you can cause. And so what you do is you create the problem. You wait for the reaction and you enjoy the solution. And it's a very old system of creating order out of chaos or rebuilding. And so the reaction to what happened in London was that the British government decided to put British soldiers permanently on British streets. Now, why do we have soldiers? We have soldiers to protect our borders. Soldiers should not ever be anywhere that's not a border or a military base or a war zone. That's it. Those are the border, military base, war zone. These are the three legal places. So you can only have soldiers where you have a war. So there's a war. When you have soldiers on your street, you're at war. That's it. And who is at war with who and for what reason? Any time that you change your habits because you're forced to by another person, you essentially have lost the battle. Because if you don't change anything, that's a sign that you stand strong. But if you immediately change something, it's a sign of a weakness. Because you're then saying, you hurt me, basically. And you don't want to show that you're hurt or you're wounded. So if you think about the last time British soldiers were on the streets, it was in Northern Ireland in the 1980s. During the terrorist events in Northern Ireland, which was in fact just the British government going around shooting people and then saying, oh, it's terrorists. But each time they arrested groups of terrorists and they went to court, it came out in the court that these people were in fact agents of the British government. And that's why nobody was put in prison for a long period of time. They all got out after a period of time because they were all working for the British government. So the British government sent its agents to Northern Ireland to create the terrorism so that they could have soldiers there and so that they would have a reason to keep Northern Ireland as an official part of Great Britain, basically, or the United Kingdom. I mean, the north of Ireland is the part that the British government didn't want to give up because they wanted to have a base on Ireland. The Irish people didn't want them, so they created this basically false war, saying it was Protestants against Catholics, but it wasn't. It was just the British government against the Irish people. Um, and so, and there's a whole history. And after a period of time, it's just a mess because people kill people and people want revenge and they attack back. And, after 10, 15, 20 years, it doesn't matter who started it. It's just, it's just craziness. So with what happened in London, London is the most secure city on the planet. London is the most secure city. London has more security cameras and more special information than in any other place in the world. London's the most protected place. Well, no, it's well the fact that no videos or camera footage of the terrorists have been shown, which clearly states that either the terrorists were not the terrorists or something different happened and we are given a narrative to follow. Because there's no reason for that not to happen. There's no reason not to show, oh, here's a video of the terrorist driving a car, or here's a video of a terrorist running through this part of London. There's cameras everywhere. I mean, there's cameras in, they've got cameras in trees and forests, right? I mean, they've got cameras everywhere. There's not 1 centimeter of London that's not covered with at least 30 cameras. So the idea that they don't know. Now, all the London bombings of 7/7, which were 10 years ago now, a bit more than that. Well, that was a British government operation. And it was and it was obvious at the time it was a British government operation. The British government was attacking its own people. These people were paid assets of the British government who were running practice terrorist drills. The only thing is that they filled the rucksacks with real bombs instead of fake bombs, and they killed the people. And then they killed everybody who knew about it, because you watched the number of people who died in the weeks afterwards in strange accidents, and the number of observers who died weeks afterwards in strange accidents. You go back and look at the death list. It's incredible. It was a big joke at the time, because I mean, even the bus that the terrorists attacked in London was it had fear written on the side of the bus. The whole thing was a big joke. And then they were interviewing the wounded people, and then 2 minutes later the wounded people were walking somewhere else not covered in blood or anything. The whole thing was just a giant fake media event. So when we understand that has happened in the past. Yeah, and the trains that the terrorists were supposed to be traveling on didn't travel on that day. So the whole story was not real. So what can we guess about this? The British government know where all the dangerous people are all of the time. They know what they're doing. They just observe and monitor them, because there's no point if you capture them and you put them in prison, you lose your data. And then you just invite new people to take their place. So it's better for the intelligence services to take a step back and observe the criminals and let them operate, so that so that they understand these things are happening. Now, a week before this, Erdogan had said there will be more terrorist attacks, and the mayor of London said London is the safest city in the world. Okay, so we've got two crazy people on both sides, standing up and saying your city is perfectly safe and nothing bad is ever going to happen is really stupid, because nobody knows what's going to happen, and then you're just inviting people to come and do something crazy. So yeah, at the same time as this terrorist attack happened in London, the British and American governments in joint operations bombed civilian areas in Syria, I think it was, killing 200 people, 200 civilians. Same time, same day. And everyone's, oh, you see people killed in London. It's, yeah, yeah, and we just dropped bombs killing 200 people in Syria. So, where's your tears for those people? Oh no, we don't cry for those people because they're not personalized to us. They're they're somewhere else. They're not important. And so um, overall, overviewing the whole thing, for me the problem is the tragedy of media and how the media presents the information. Is bang, something bad happens, instant live television. Why do you have to instantly go to live television when something bad happens and some stupid, crazy person does something stupid? You know, that's just, anyone who understands media knows that people copy people. And all you're doing when you give publicity to people doing negative things is encouraging more people to do negative. Yeah, yes, encouraging more people to do negative things to create more publicity. And the truth is that real terrorism is never broadcast. Because you don't want anyone to know. Look, there's people all the time jumping off of buildings committing suicide. But that's never in the news. Why? Because people know that other people will climb to the top of the same buildings and jump off them. They'll get the idea. Because that's the way that people are. So it's like those little toys you get with the key in the back. And you wind up, or like a little robot or little, I don't know, dinosaur or alligator or something. You go, and so that's what the media is. It's a little key in the back of the crazy people of society. Look at the media was saying, promoting during the American election, kill Trump, kill Trump, kill Trump, we should kill Trump, someone has to kill him, stop him. And what happened was some crazy guy in Britain went to America and got a gun and tried to shoot him. And the media are like, oh, that's how unusual. Right? That's why it's called programming, because it's a program. It's designed to influence the way you think. So the way that the media reports all these things, you don't want live cameras. Oh, we have live cameras covering the event, and what, you want live cameras pointing at dead people on the street? You know, what good is that going to do? You know, and all you get is radicalized Islamic people tuning into the television, going, "Yeah, nice one." Which, if you watch the alternative television channels, what you get is lots of people going, "Yeah, finally, yeah, come on, more of this, Allah Akbar, thumbs up, yeah, smiley faces," all over Facebook. So if there's a real terrorist attack, you don't broadcast it. You don't tell the world about it, because you're just promoting it. Why would you give your enemy promotion? Why would you promote your enemy? You're telling people what works and what doesn't work. Yeah, you're advertising, oh, if you want to kill people, get a car and drive it into groups of people. And then the media turns around and says, well, you know, it's not a race-based attack. It's got nothing to do with the Muslim culture, even though the Muslims are saying it does. You have the polite Western media apologizing for the terrorists. Yeah, and then you know, we stand strong and we're not going to change anything we do, and we're just going to keep our borders open and let all of these foreigners come into our country and take over our religions and our streets and our shops and our houses and take all the benefits. And the political Western influences basically have married with Islam and are trying to create civil war in Europe. That's what it looks like to me. However, good people are trying to reverse the situation, which people are calling, oh, it is nationalism. Well, who cares as long as you protect your borders? It doesn't matter. And then you get weird international spokespeople like Angelina Jolie standing up in the United Nations saying that nationalism is bad for globalism. Right, nationalism is bad for globalism. So nationalism is bad, but internationalism is good. So it's games. It's just big games that are being played now, and I think the European Union is falling apart, economically and socially. It's basically a good idea, but you can't force it. And this immigration is a way to keep people's minds off it. It's a way to get people to focus on something else while the agenda continues. You know, well, because we've seen it before, where the criminals going from one country to another country, and the police don't know what to do about it. So the police in both countries have to work together to try to solve the problem. So the end result is some kind of integration that happens. But we shouldn't have the problem in the first place. And then you go back and then it becomes obvious why we're dropping bombs in the Middle East. So obviously we don't care about those people. Obviously it's been a plan for 20 or 30 years. Drop bombs in the Middle East, make everybody homeless, force the people into Europe, and foment localized revolutions, terrorize people and scare them into the brave new future, which is authoritarianism, which is predicted perfectly in the film V for Vendetta, where they talk about government having too much power over the people, and people not being able to do anything because government have all the guns, and that's it. And I think Slovakia doesn't have a big problem with all of this because Slovakia is still pretty hardcore. It hasn't really softened up. I mean, a lot of the other countries have become really soft. Everyone's all, oh, you can't use this language and you can't use these words and you have to be sensitive to other people's feelings. It doesn't happen in Slovakia. People just say exactly what they think, however stupid it is, and that's it. And you can look at it like, well, it's a shame, but at least they haven't gone soft. Like they have in Sweden, where the media won't report any of the crimes of the immigrants. You know, there's like they estimate there's 50 to 100 rapes a day now in Sweden by immigrants. 50 to 100 rapes a day, and the media won't report it. It's shocking. And where are the men? Where are all the men? Where have the men gone? Where are they? Where are they protesting against this? Where are they standing to defend their borders? Where are they? They're all playing football or video games, or I don't even know what they're doing, to be honest. They're working, some of them, I suppose, but you know, this idea that if you keep your head down and you work, everything will be okay. Maybe that worked in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, but it doesn't work anymore. Doesn't work anymore. And the elections, you know, if you believe that nationalism did not win in, where was it, Holland, I think that's fixed. Nationalism was fixed in Scotland. The Scots didn't win. I think they did. Um, the French election is coming up soon. I think that nationalism will win, but whether or not the votes that are counted will be real and true and honest at the end of the day, it's really hard to say. Yeah. It's an interesting intellectual battle. It's very much an information war. There have been so many terrorist attacks in Europe in the last year, I can't even remember them all. There was that Christmas market in Germany, and there was another one in France, and there was that lorry that drove over 100 people, and this is just the things that we hear about. This is just the things that we hear about. So that's my rant on the situation. I don't think there's any great solution. I do think that people have gone sort of soft, and they don't recognize their countries anymore, and it's sort of important. If you have a house with a garden, you have a wall around your garden. You lock your door when you leave your home. Security is an essential part of daily life. So, and your country is your home, essentially, on a bigger scale. So you want to have a wall around it or a border around it, and you want to have the opportunity to lock the door. It's necessary. So skilled migration, qualified migration, okay. If you need skill in labor, if you want people with university degrees, great. But unskilled? I would have strong immigration policies. It's like, okay, only one member of any family can come in, and they have to come in for 5 years, and maybe after 5 years somebody else from the family can come in or something.